I know there are a lot of things in our world today that cause fear, but Jesus, in his Sermon on the Mount, had some specific things to say about worry and anxiety, and I'd like to share some of them with you today. Hi, I'm John Kuert, the interim pastor at Alpha Assembly in Clarion, Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Heart to Heart. These short little messages from my heart to yours, and I hope that they are a blessing to you and help you in your daily life and in your spiritual walk. Well, Jesus said we shouldn't worry about everyday life, whether you have enough drink or food or clothes. He said, doesn't life consist of more than that? Look at the birds. They don't need to plant or harvest or put food in barns because your Heavenly Father feeds them. And he asked this rhetorical question, aren't you more valuable to him than they are? Well, I remember one time I did a message on this and I looked it up. And I just want to share some of those thoughts that I had about worrying and why we shouldn't worry from the Sermon on the Mount. First of all, Jesus said when we worry, we're being disobedient because he said, do not worry. That's a command of Christ. Secondly, he said when we worry, we disregard the promises that he will care for us. He said he would supply all our needs. So if you worry, you're disregarding the promises. When we worry, it's just plain dumb because it is senseless to be anxious about things over which we have no control. Jesus said, who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life or even grow an inch in his stature? All worry is caused by calculating without God. That's a quote by Oswald Chambers. All worry is caused by calculating without God. Well, another thing is when we worry, it disturbs our spiritual rest and peace and joy and makes us anxious in the pursuit of temporal things. Jesus said, don't worry about what you will eat or drink or what we're going to wear. He said the pagans run after all these things, but your Heavenly Father knows what you need. And then next, he said, worry distracts us from the daily, from today. It distracts us from today and causes us to focus on the past or the present. He said, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And finally, worry is damaging, not only to your spiritual health, but your physical health. You know, there's something that Carnegie wrote in his book, Stop Worrying and Start Living. He said, when there are things that are facing you, here's what to do. 3 steps. Analyze and ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Figure that out. Secondly, prepare yourself to accept it. If you have to, you're going to accept that. And finally, calmly proceed to improve on the worst. So there's some thoughts for you today about worry and anxiety. I think that we need to go check out that Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 5, 6, and 7 is the great Sermon on the Mount. Read it through and through. And I think it contains some of the most basic things about what we are to be and what we are to do as Christians. And one of them is don't worry, don't have anxiety. And yet it's an age of anxiety, but Jesus tells us not to fear. So the next time you're tempted to worry about something, channel all of the energy that you would have, put it into prayer instead, and say, Lord, here's my problem. I'm putting it in your hands. I'm going to trust you. I know it's not an easy thing to do, but it's something we need to conscientiously do all the time. Well, God bless. Thanks for joining me again for another heart to heart talk. And I hope and pray that this will be a message that will help you along the way. I think we all need to hear this again and again and again, especially in these days. Well, as always, I invite you to come and spend a morning with us at Alpha Assembly in Clarion, 499 Grand Avenue Extension in Clarion, Pennsylvania. Join us at 10:30 on Sunday mornings, and we would love to have you. It's great fellowship, great music, pretty good preaching too. God bless. And Lord willing, we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.